right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ganas Network podcast, Lunes con Ganas, the weekly motivational podcast where we sit down with a ton of different types of people. We have business owners, musicians, personal trainers, motivational stories that could help you lose weight, make more money, chase your dreams, goal set. And I'm very, very excited for today's episode. We have a very close and dear friend of mine who I've had the chance to know for over a decade now, about a decade. I met him 10 years ago through the wonderful world of network marketing. I remember I met him through a friend. He introduced me to you. And at first you were this really very hip looking guy, man. I was like, oh, this guy's got style, you know? And you were always talking to the prettiest girls in the room. So I was like, okay, I want to be around this guy. Maybe I could pick up a few things. And we went from being friends to eventually roommates. But I'll save that for the story, man, because I know you're gonna drop some massive nuggets. You're one of the most successful people that I know, not just from a distance, but I actually know you, dude. Like I remember when we were broke. I remember when we lived together. Just always had these dreams, had these ambitions of things we wanted to accomplish in life, and it's so beautiful to see the transformation that you've gone through. And the massive success. You've been able to help not just yourself, but a ton of people, you know, and it's one thing to have a job and make $100,000 a year, but it's another thing when you could make $100,000 a year from home, and then to be able to turn around and help dozens and dozens of people do the same thing. So that's I'm excited to sit here with you here, so you can share your story on how you've been able to accomplish that and are continuing to grow in your business. So welcome to the podcast, Silver Fisher from Irvine, California. Welcome.
What's up, guys? First of all, it'd be, interesting if I didn't say something about Omero and the relationship that we have. We've been friends, like you said, for 10 years now, and he's someone that I've grown close to, but he's one of those friends that, which is really cool to be able to come back after a year of not seeing each other here and there, and to be as close as we were previously. And I think, great minds think alike. And something about success for me is it never changes my roots. It does change who I associate with, but as far as the people that I enjoy spending time with that have that, forward focused mindset, and that are looking to expand and grow. For me, life is about sharing and expanding who we are on an internal level. We're all on the same journey. Doesn't matter how much money you have, the things you've acquired. And one of the things that I love about Omero is he has a kind of a similar internal state as me, as far as, looking to put out there who he is. And that's what I believe Ganas Network is really a representation of, is inspiring and motivating and helping people at another level to go out there and create success for themselves. And that's something I'm all about. And so I'm glad I could take the opportunity to take some time with you today and sit down and thank you for thinking of me to share my story and stuff like that. So pretty cool to be able to sit here with you and join this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for the people that don't know you, I think a lot of people through this are going to get to know your story, right? But even for the people that know you or what you've done through your company, maybe seeing you from a distance on stage, you see you share your 30-second story and like, oh, that guy seems cool. But the cool thing about this, the podcast form, is that we're going to be able to dig deep and, get to know you on a more personal level, so people can maybe relate to you even more. So I know you're from Corona area. Is that where you grew up, in Corona, California?
Yeah, I was actually born here in Orange County in North County, and then my parents actually moved out to my mom and my stepdad. I was born to my mom at 19, and she got married to my stepdad in her early 20s, and my dad's one of my best friends. My real dad's one of my best friends now, but didn't come back into my life until I was about 4. And so anyway, moved out to Corona actually around 8 or 9, and grew up pretty middle class. Working class family. Stepdad was a police officer. Mother was a secretary. And, I didn't know what I did have. I didn't know what I didn't have. I just kind of felt like, hey, this is how I live. You know, I don't think as a child I felt underprivileged by any means. I think I felt pretty normal. But you know, it's all our own internal world, how we create that. And so, you know, there were some times when I created my own internal state that I just felt like I didn't fit in. You know, I'm 5'7" now, so you know I'm like a lawn gnome, right? So it's caused me to, you know, at a younger age to be able to, you know, strive for things and want to fit in, and one thing you'll notice about me is I'm just trying to be real on this podcast about how I felt growing up. You know, I think I'm a very real person in describing how I feel, and so anyway. Moved out to Corona, you know, actually liked the place that we live, but it was new. You know, I'd moved a lot as a child, so I, once again, trying to find my place fitting in. And so kind of had to become a chameleon going from different schools, different places, different groups of friends, different daycares, because both working class family. And so always, you know, meeting new groups of people. And so I think that's become a skill set for me over time that's actually turned into an advantage, and we'll talk about that. But, you know, went to high school out there in Corona, and, you know, like I said, just kind of looking for my place in the world, looking to fit in at some level. And, you know, graduated kind of with an average score, but I think really my story in my life kind of begins out of high school and growing out of that. You know, I really had no idea what I wanted to do for a living out of school. And I think that's a lot of college students. They don't, you know, they're told, you know, go to school, get good grades, go out and get a good job. And that's the story that was shared with me. But I had this like internal desire of freedom, you know, I think that was kind of always been a big journey for me, is to like, how can I have control of my life? And maybe that's from rooting and feeling out of control a lot of the times growing up, you know, moving so much and so many different, you know, groups of friends, and not really being able to hold groups of friends down because of moving and different things. And so, you know, it's inspired a different level of, you know, desire to have freedom and to have, I guess, control of my life. So maybe it came out of a negative thing, but life is how we think about it, right? And so it's actually helped me achieve some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, man. And I know that you originally, you have a very musical background. So you used to DJ and do all these fun party events. So, I mean, at what age did you get into the music thing where you were starting to throw your own events and whatnot? I remember that's something you always spoke about. Yeah,
actually, that's also one of the things that I felt as a tool that helped me fit in. I went through a lot of different phases in high school, you know, but I found I always kind of connected with music. You know, I was looking for a common ground that I could connect to other people, and music happened to be one of those. You know, I went through the punk rock phase. I went through the, you know, rave phase where, you know, rave music became big. And that electronic music at the age of 15 kind of really struck a chord with me. You know, I liked that whole scene where people were connecting with people on a large scale. It was kind of hitting its momentum phase. And, you know, I started DJing at a very young age, at 15, and messing around with music, just because once again it gave me that aspect of control, to be able to control the party and to see you know, what was going on, you know, as far as people having fun, engaging it. And I really had a great time with it. You know, we used to promote parties in you know, in high school. You know, we threw a prom party and had, you know, 60 to 100 people there, which was pretty crazy. Just seeing people come in and out, and I was like, wow, this promoting thing is pretty cool. And it's kind of opened up a lot of different doors, but it was definitely a skill set that I realized I had pretty early on.
Right. You become the life of the party. Everybody knows you. Yeah. When you throw one good event, they're like, dude, I want your number, or call me when you have your next event. And that's where you almost started growing those seeds of networking. Yeah. And being able to talk to people and be influential.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, absolutely. And that led me into a kind of a whole new open door. If you don't mind, I'll segue.
No, of course. Go for it, man.
So, you know, out of high school, you know, that's job time. And I remember I had moved to Long Beach area, and ended up moving in with my grandmother when I turned 18, and my grandfather was sick, wanted to help out around the house and stuff, and then they actually provided the opportunity for me to go to school, and so I went to City College and was like, I don't know if this school thing is for me, because to be real, I mean, the only reason I went to school was to socialize. And, I wanted to meet people. I got a real kick out of meeting people and socializing. And by the time my senior year hit, I had a good group of friends. So I was like really on top of trying to create that again. I felt really good about having a good circle of friends. And so basically from that point moving out, I was like, where do I go next? And so I used to go out to Hollywood a lot. I think, delivering pizzas, going to community college during the day, and then going to clubs in LA a ton. I was just looking to recreate that circle. And, I've always kind of like tried to stay on the cutting edge of like what's new in music, what's cool. And it's caused me to kind of find my identity. I was willing to go out there and see what the world was like, at least from the perspective of, fashion, music, all these different things. And basically, what had ended up happening is I ended up not liking school, getting in thousands of dollars in credit card debt, because you can't, really have a great time on a pizza delivery salary, right. And then, going out there and figuring out, hey, I got to do something different. And, fortunately, I had a father who was having a lot of success at that point, doing consulting, and he has no formal education. His background was computers and engineering and things like that. But he'd always been very good at networking with people as well and selling himself. And he said, Silver, why don't you come move in with me in Albuquerque? And he's not from there. He moved out there, but I moved in with him because he offered me a deal I couldn't refuse. He said, hey, we'll get your debt paid off. Come out and move in with me, and we'll figure out a way to do it. And he said, when I came out there, he said, Silver, I want to support you in whatever you're doing, whatever you want to do. And here's a funny story. I read a book called What Color Is Your Parachute? It's supposed to help you find your career. I mean, this is his school of thought. He knew nothing but to show me the path of success that he had and how he had it. Well, that's through personal development and these books. And so What Color Is Your Parachute being one of those, what are your strengths? What are your skill sets? And so basically I did this. And at the end of the book, it said, Silver, you should be a rock star. And I was like, what? I was like, I don't even play an instrument. How am I going to be a rock star? Right. And that's not me being, that's a reality of what the back of this book said. And I was like, okay, I don't even get that. Like, how do you even do that? So he said, Silver, I understand you love music and you want to do that. He's like, we're going to make this really easy for you. We want to get you some education on whatever you want to do, at least give you the context of how you can have success. And so he said, that $3,000 in credit card debt that you're in, why don't we, I'm going to pay you $100 per book that you read. I want you to make a PowerPoint of each of these books. And, at the end of reading these books, you'll have your debt paid off, and then you can decide what you want to do and what direction you want to go. And so within a 9-month period in Albuquerque, kind of like locked up in a room, not literally, but, locked up in his apartment. I didn't really have any friends out there. There was no real club scene out there. I ended up reading 30 books in about 9 months. And these are all personal development books. Think and Grow Rich, The E-Myth, how to win friends and influence people. And so I got this, foundation of personal development. Now, don't get me wrong. At that age, I wanted to party. So this is not something I was like, yeah, personal development. I'm 19 and I want to eat this stuff up. But, what I realized is these books planted seeds in my mind. And it was just the habit of doing it, without recognizing how I was feeling and doing it anyway, that ended up producing some pretty cool results that I'll kind of segue into. But, honestly, I was miserable the whole time reading those books, but I read them. They planted the seeds subconsciously, and doing something for 9 months, you're creating a habit, right? You can't deny that.
Right.
And so anyways, I came back to LA, and what ended up happening was I started the old habits again of going out to the clubs. I moved back in with my grandmother, and I was like, this doesn't seem to be working, and my mind was operating on a different level now, because once your mind expands, it can't contract, right? Once you have that knowledge base, you start seeing things differently through a different filter. At least that's what happened for me, and what I've heard a lot of successful people say. And so what happened was I started asking myself different questions, like, maybe I could do this club promoted thing. I promoted a few clubs before. What really needs to happen? I associated with these club promoters. I had people that were already successful in the industry. So all these books of, find a mentor, understand the systems of how the stuff works, and go out and just take massive action on what you see and what you want to accomplish. And at the age of 19, was able to go out there and negotiate a deal with a nightclub, and to say, hey, I want to promote one of these nights. Now, it was a long shot. They were like, we're only going to give you one shot. You're a 19-year-old kid. And maybe it's a little bit more acceptable now because they see the influence that actually has. But ended up signing a contract with a club and bringing on a business partner, and launched a nightclub night, or promoting at a nightclub. And it was pretty cool. We actually ended up having about 600 people show up the first night, and $5-10 a pop.
That's amazing.
Pure cash flow.
Yeah.
That was my first taste of real cash pop and a business opportunity. But the lesson there is, my mind started thinking differently as a result of those books, and then taking massive action on it, understanding my skill sets at a certain level through those books as well. Not just studying business, but studying about myself as well. Personality traits, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Understanding them and being able to use that as leverage, and started earning a very, very healthy income, close to 6 figures, if not 6 figures, very early on at an early age. Promoting and then DJing as well, because I use that skill set integrated with that. And it actually created a following where other clubs were coming to me. They saw that I had a following. They saw that I had my own night and said, hey, we'll pay you $500 an hour just to come DJ at my club. And so it was a pretty cool experience. There was some things that, needed to be shifted in that, but it was a great learning experience overall.
Right, man. To be able to experience that at such a young age is very impressive, man, because it's almost like when the partying and the chicks and the drugs and the money at such a young age, but you were, thanks to your dad, he put you on this path of self-help, working on you, and it's pretty very unique story, man. I didn't even know that, actually.
Oh, really?
So it's so cool that you're sharing this. I'm learning more about you. And how long did you do that for, where you were running these type of events?
So I did that for about 2 years, where I did the whole club thing in LA, and then through a series of events, lack of more self-development on a personal side. Like I said early on, a lot of my good fruits came from things that I didn't even understand. Feeling out of control, wanting to control things, and that can be used in a positive way when it's used for management. But you got to understand people at a different level. And I think I was at my very beginning phases of that, and not understanding leadership, because there's definitely a difference between a boss and a leader, and I think I was a boss at that point. But these are all independent, people that were working for me, and so I ended up moving out of that industry in the club scene, and knew I needed some definite growth, and so going from $10,000 a month down to nothing was pretty intense as a 20-year-old kid thinking you've arrived and thinking, or a 21-year-old kid thinking you've arrived and made it, and then all of a sudden, it's gone in one day, or it's gone within a short period of time. And so that was another realization experience for me. It was like, what happened here? And that caused me to drive into a whole new series of business ventures and things, and looking introspectively at myself to say, what can I do better? What are the things that caused that, and what can I change? And so anyways, being on the forefront of style and music and things like that, I saw a lot of my friends were going into black collar industry, makeup, hair, retail, anything on the creative side of things. And I was like, maybe I'll be good at this hair thing. Maybe I'm going to go back to school. And so I ended up going to hair school, finishing that up. And that was a really cool experience. I'll tell you, you learn a lot about women sitting in a class for a year, around 90 of them,
I bet. Man.
So basically, ended up going to school, finishing that up. And then my uncle actually had been doing hair for a while, and he had a salon here in Orange County, and he's asked me to come on as a business partner because he knew I understood marketing from my previous experience, and so he actually asked me to be a business partner with him and do salon business in Irvine. And, I saw opportunity and timing with that because mortgage was booming at that point, right? There was a fat run with mortgage, and Irvine was the center of, finance, mortgage,
a ton of
real
people
estate.
making a lot of money.
Yeah. Waitresses making $250,000 a year in mortgage. And I was like, well, let's capitalize on this on the creative end of it. So started doing hair. And interesting thing happened at that point as well. I was building my career, building my clientele, because building a clientele is the same for me at that point as building a promotion business. It's like friends who tell friends, and end up coming into me for a service. Now, obviously, didn't have as much leverage, but I had my dream set of owning a salon with multiple chairs and being able to cut down my hours ultimately in the salon business. But a friend of mine actually that I had been really best friends with in high school actually approached me in 2005. He knew I was successful at hair and knew I had a club business and a big network. And he said, Silver, hey, I'm going to Vegas for a weekend and going to a little convention. And I want to pay for everything for you. Why don't you come out and we'll stop by this convention for a couple hours a day? Well, I was like, yeah, party,
Vegas?
Vegas, I'm 23 at this point.
Right.
I'm like, let's do this, And
it's not that hard to convince people to go to Vegas. I'll pay for it. Let's go.
Yeah. 23 years old. I want to go have fun. Right.
Right.
At that point, that's where my mind was at. And so, he actually ended up kind of duping me a little bit. We ended up in this convention for 12 hours a day for 2 days straight. And I'm sitting in there like, what am I doing? This is like a foreign environment. Everybody's suited and booted, right? And I'm like hairstylist, crazy like faux hawk and,
Young,
colors
hip.
in my hair, right? 23 years old. But actually ended up seeing some pretty magnetic people. And, that's what caught my attention was I ended up losing my nightclub as a result of not having the personal development and the personal leadership skills to be able to lead that business to more successful plateaus. But, seeing these people that had what I wanted, not only financially, making 6-7 figures from home, but being able to see, someone that truly cared about people, that were out there leading from the front, making a difference, and had people surrounding them in this recognition format that because they had done something special for other people. And I was like, that's really my heart's desire. I didn't know what I didn't know, but that process of self-discovery and going through that pain and then seeing someone who had what I wanted. So, understanding that mentorship thing, I was like, well, this is kind of an opportunity for me to get maybe not free mentorship because I'm still investing my time, but, really wasn't interested in the product at all because being hip and then, joining
Young.
this company that didn't have a service that really was in alignment with where I was at, but going, hey, I'm going to join this thing anyway because of the people that I'm going to be able to surround myself with. And so, coming back to hair, was doing hair, was working in that business because my best friend was in it, and started going to these events on a weekly basis, started going to these trainings on a weekly basis, and really getting a idea of what this network marketing thing was all about. Really didn't know the industry, but knew that this company had something special. They had good training. They had some good philosophies, and I was like, well, hey, if I'm not going to school, these books worked for me in the past. Now I got a whole group of people that are reading these books and surrounding myself. And that's when I realized your environment works harder on you than you do on it. Right. And that was a big thing for me, because I've heard the metaphor of, the thermometer and the thermostat. And at that point, I truly believe I was a thermometer, meaning, I didn't really I tried to control my environment as much as I could, but I couldn't. I didn't have that internal motivation really until I started surrounding myself with those people. And this environment created the thermostat to be able to raise my temperature up, right? And there was a few people in there that were the thermostat, that were in front of the room, that were speaking to these people and inspiring action that they wouldn't have done had those people not been there. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to be a thermostat. I don't want to be a thermometer anymore.
Right.
And, they told me, hey, just hang around those people and eventually you'll take on those traits. And so that's what started to happen. I started to get a different level of success, started to be able to lead people on a different level, a volunteer army, so to speak. Yep. Not being a boss and dangling a check over somebody's head, but really being able to inspire the best out of other people, being able to see people better than they are. And that was a big thing, people seeing things in me and inspiring me to be better, and me being able to turn around and see the qualities in other people and to be able to inspire stuff out of them. And perfect timing, had been building that business for 2 years because the mortgage crash was looming. And, I started to earn a little bit of money in networking, and 2007 rolled around, full on, crisis mode in the mortgage industry. Here I thought I was being smart because that's where all the money was. And I think it was just that timing to transfer over and to do something in networking. And so I ended up letting go of my hair license, kind of burning my boat, so to speak. I said, I don't want to go back to hair. This is not something I want to use to fall back on. I want to go full force into network marketing, and started earning enough to pay my bills. It was a pay cut to, not being able to do hair at that point, or choosing not to do hair at that point anymore. But it was a full commitment that, hey, this is something I really see for my future. And, I was willing to give this thing a long-term view. This wasn't something that I was going to get to 6 figures, 7 figures, at 25 years old, within a couple years. I'd heard those stories, but it was like, for me, I'm committed to the process no matter how long it takes, right? This is my career. This is something I want to do because of the value I found in it.
Right.
And so, that really evolved into a whole different set of successes and struggles, right?
Yeah, man.
So I don't know if you want to ask any questions based on that. Or
that's where we met, actually, was that specific company. And at the time, I remember just seeing you walk across stage, and I was always just attracted, just like the way your style. I was like, oh, that's so, dude, where do you cut your hair? So my hair looks like shit. And then that's when we started cutting my hair, and that's how I got to know you more on a more personal level.
Right.
But the cool thing was that it was always nice to see your influence within the groups. And it was attractive because I had my own team, but my team had a total different little energy, and it's nice to see the transition mentally. Going from being a new person and also then having a circle up and having you being a mentor to others. And then there's also that outside stigma that we both experience of, people think network marketing, they think, oh, it's a scam, it's a pyramid. Yep. All they're doing is lying to people, trying to take people's money. And I mean, in reality, there's that scam mentality could be to anything. People think the gym's a scam. I thought the gym was a scam. I was giving them $30, $40 a month, and I didn't lose any weight, but that's because I never showed up. I never participated. I never had a personal trainer to personally coach me and guide me. And I think network marketing is very, very similar. I was involved for a few years and changed my life. You know, some of the friendships like yours are some that I've met and cultivated throughout all these years is thanks to network marketing. Some of my best friends right now are people that I met 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, what would you say to people maybe listening to this podcast that have never seen a network marketing company? All they know is what their family tells them, right? Like, oh, it's one of those things. Don't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
I relate it to business in any context. You know, you look at business at any level, you know, most of them fail, right? And so network marketing, because it's a people business, you have more average people that has a lower barrier to entry, so they can get in for 100 to 1,000, whatever it is. Whereas a traditional business, you got to invest hundreds, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And so you have this lower barrier to entry. So you have more of the working class people willing to take a risk for their dreams, but they don't understand it takes 5 years to be successful in any business, right? And 90% of businesses out in the world that people invest hundreds of thousands of dollars and fail within the first 5 years. And then another 90% of those that are still left, you know, fail in the next 5 years. And so, you know, people don't understand the path to success is based on failure, right? And so for me, you know, luckily I got that philosophy right away. And because I had failed multiple times previously. Now, I was in my 20s and that was the time for me to fail. You know, I said, if I can just expedite my rate of failure, then I can be success ultimately, you know, at the end, or what I'm looking to achieve. And so basically what I say to most people that are looking at network marketing is different than a lot of people out there. I have that farmer mentality of, you know, when you go out there and you're planting seeds, what's going to happen is some are going to fall on the thorns, some of them, the birds are going to get them. And then ultimately some, you know, you plant a good idea long enough, there's going to be some that sprout and there's going to be some that produce fruit, you know? And so that's the reality. That's what happened with my hair clientele. Yeah. That's what happened with my club. I'm sure there's people that came to my club and said, this is stupid. This was like, did that bug me though? It's like, no, I have my decision that I'm going to go plant seeds, that I want this club. And, you know, I continue to follow that path. Same thing with hair. You know, I didn't get offended when someone said, I have a hairstylist, you know, like, so network marketing, same way. It was like, this was my path. I share a good idea long enough. I plant those seeds. It's going to fall on some good ears eventually. And that's exactly what happened. But I had to be willing to take the no's to get to the yeses, right?
And the thing is, with network marketing, not all companies are created equal. You know, there's a ton of shitty companies out there that sell shitty products, you know, and some big corporations, you know, I mean, the biggest network marketing company, direct sales company that I can think of is Amway. Amway sells toilet paper. They sell dish soap. They sell anything.
It's also a $12 billion company.
Right. So they're making a ton of money selling basic stuff. But if you can get behind it and plug into the system, you can make a lot of money. You know, my mom just joined Amway, I want to say 2 months ago. And she came over to try to, you know, tell me about it. I was like, oh, Mom, you know, I already work from home. I already built a network marketing company. I know how much it takes, you know, and right now I just don't have it in my heart, time, or desire to build that company. But I told her, I love you and I support you and I wish you the best. Plug into the system. And she's so happy. She loves it. And now I'm on auto ship for some energy drinks that they sell that are really good. I'm like, damn it, I'm spending $60 a month on energy drinks, but I'm supporting my mom.
Yeah.
My mom was always my first recruit in every business that I joined, because I joined like 2. I want to make sure that people don't prejudge, you know, because sometimes because of the stigmas out there or the stuff people say that they're all pyramids. I can think of dozens of people that I know, like yourself, man, that are making an incredible lifestyle. I mean, here we're at your sick pad in Irvine. I wish you guys could see this view. It's just beautiful. And it's real. It's not a scam. That company's not just fronting you all this money just because you're a nice guy. You built a business. But we'll get into that in a little bit. But I just want to let you guys know, there's a lot of bullshit out there, but there are some solid companies. And I think, especially with what you're doing now, is one of the best, one of the most elite network marketing organizations in the world. And you'll share why.
Yeah. But here's the thing, Omero, is people make millions of dollars selling coat hangers,
right?
You know,
right?
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a model, right? And
That's
so from the books I read, what I came to understand is, you know, if you buy someone's opinion, you buy their lifestyle,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so I had to find the people and surround myself with the people that I want. And I wasn't one of the fortunate few to be born into an elite family of entrepreneurs that was like, hey, this is the path that you're going on. We have a legacy all set up for you. This is the business that you're going to go build. And so where else was I going to get that information? You know, it's like these guys have the lifestyle. They have leverage and residual income. Right? Those are two things that I wanted, you know, residual being, you know, doing something one time and getting paid month in, month out, month in, month out. I mean, I could imagine that in the hair business. If I did someone's haircut one time and got paid over and over and over on the anniversary of that haircut, but didn't have to do their hair anymore,
right?
It'd be like, man, I would have been set a long time ago, right? And then leverage, you know, the wealthy in America, you know, they don't look for work. They build networks, right?
That's right.
You've heard that said before. And so it's like, I want to go out there and have, you know, 1% of 100 people's efforts and 100% of my own. And this was the platform to do it for me. For me, I wanted that reoccurring income that comes in whether I work or not, what they call beach money, right? So I can go and do what I want when I want to do it with who I want to do it with and not worry about that income. You know, I'd done the grind of showing up 10 hours a day in a salon, and I know what that can do to the physical body. I know what that can do to the mentality, you know, thinking, how long am I going to do this? I'm going to do this for 40 years of my life, you know, with no retirement, because as a hairstylist, I'm self-employed, right? So I got to learn to make smart investments. So I can make smart investments with my time now, or I can make smart investments if I ever get an opportunity to get ahead and get the money later. But I'd rather use my time, because time is more valuable than money, bottom line.
That's right, man.
Because you can always make more money, but you can't ever get your time back. So what do I want to invest that in? And network marketing happened to be that vehicle for me.
Right,
and so, you know, at that point, I had spent, I think, 4 years in that company that we were in together. And you know, that was a 30-year-old company. They were just expanded in the United States and Canada, and so the opportunity really for big time momentum and, you know, timing such a big thing in business, I think, was over. Now, it gave me what I needed as far as a foundation, but you know, I spent the next 2 years after leaving that company looking for a home, looking for a company with the right timing, looking for a company that had products that were maybe more fitting now that I understood the industry and like I want to have passion about the products too. And so I spent 2 years going through about 6 different companies.
I went with you for one of them. I remember we both left that company together, and you told me about this other super cool company. They're in Irvine, and this guy has got like Lambos, and he's got this like 3-level house in Laguna Beach. Yeah. I definitely caught the vision, but and we were building that company for like 2-3 months, killing it. I was like so proud to be like top recruiter, and then the company went away.
Yeah. That happens.
It happens, you know, but I, at that point for me, I was done. You know, I had a good corporate job and I was trying to do music and other shit. And you kept on going and you kept on seeking and finding, and, you know, you said, hey, Omero, I found another deal. I was like, dude, I'm good, bro. I remember I was like, hit me up when you're making like 10 grand a month, and then I'll listen, right?
Yeah.
That's what everybody says. You know, like, okay, Silver, you've told me about this before. Yeah. But anyway, continue, man. You kept on digging and finding and
Silver really is out there expediting his rate of failure. 6 companies in 2 years. Right?
That's impressive.
But you know what?
Sorting.
I got a ton of knowledge out of that, man. I'll tell you, you know, lining up with these different leaders, lining up with, you know, different people in different companies and finding out what I want, but also using the warnings that are out there as well. I think, you know, seeing what people don't like about this industry, the games that are played, and you know, that happens in any industry. There just happens to be more talk about it in this industry because, like I said, it's a lower barrier to entry and there's more people.
Right.
So, you know, I use that experience to be able to choose a good company, and you know, at that point, I wasn't making any money, so I was working a job, as well, doing marketing for a vacation company.
Yeah.
And,
I remember
man.
that. I remember that.
Yeah.
I saw you at one of those events.
Hated that.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh. I was like a carny at the fair. Not that there's anything wrong if you're a carny.
Shout out to other carnies out there listening to Ganas Network.
I don't know how many. You seem to have a higher level of individual. I don't know any Latino carnies.
I have yet to meet one.
So, but basically, you know, I forget where I was even going now. We're talking about carnies. My head's flashing with clowns and people juggling balls.
I had an important question. When you were with that first company that we were talking about, about what was your typical average income? Just to give people an idea, that you were building it. What were you making on average? Working in those companies, or what was your highest? Average? I
think my highest at level, I was making $5,000 to $7,000 a month.
Cool.
But that was 3 years in.
Right. And grinding, going to a ton of events,
absolutely
promoting, a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah,
building a team. So
and for the time that I invested, I was like, man, they had told me about this idea that I would invest 90% of time and receive 10% of income my first year, get 80% at the time, 20% income next year, and then, basically it would be 50-50 around my third year. And that's what I felt like. I was like, for how much effort I'm putting in, 40 hours a week or whatever into my business, and, receiving $5,000 to $7,000 a month, I was like, oh man, this is rough.
At the top level of the company.
Yeah, but I had to have faith that, hey, look, if I kept grinding it out and figure this thing out, that this is a system that worked, because there were still people that had the lifestyle that I wanted. But there was a few key elements, like I said, timing of a company, company with global expansion, and a couple of elements that I was missing that I learned over those 2 years moving on from that company. Mm-hmm. And, that company did a very good job at keeping us focused on the actions and not the outcome.
Right.
And so, which is great. That's what needs to happen, and kept me in work mode. But, once again, that self-discovery process and that business discovery process associating with other people. And I saw that because I had friends that came into the industry that went from zero to hero in a 1 year period. And I'm like, there's something I'm missing
Millionaires,
here.
right?
Yeah, it's like there's something I'm missing here. Now, not necessarily all those companies were great companies. There was a lot of games and stuff that happened in those companies, but the timing element of that. And so, anyways, was out of the industry for a year and started working on a completely different entrepreneurial project. Said, hey, this is time for me until maybe the right company comes along, and networking. And I started putting together another business model, and put together 6 months of contracts, coming up with a compensation plan, all these different things, and going, man, I forgot what a grind this is, coming out with a legit business. Traditional legit business, not making a dime.
Right.
I wish I was in networking again, because I can make income and get, earn while I learn right away.
Right.
And that's when I got the phone call from a good friend of mine, Patty McCracken. And this guy,
what's cracking, McCracken,
called me up and said, Silver, heard about another company. I think you should take a look at it. It's in beauty products, anti-aging skincare. And I was like, man, I don't know anything about skincare. I did hair, bro.
Yeah.
This just seems one more step down the path of being more feminine, right? I'm already feminine enough, right? With the way I dress, I like to shop, I love music, I like to dance, all these things. I'm like, I don't know about this thing, man. But he told me about the leadership involved. He pointed to some videos, and I felt like I had enough experience. And he was really asking me from a standpoint of knowledge base from screwing it up so much, right?
Right.
And so I looked at it and I said, wow, this is big deal. This is there's some people that I had worked with previously that were that were joining this company and that I knew had been successful. And I said, the timing element couldn't be better, because the company was 30 days old. Right. But I also knew that there was a huge what's the word I'm looking for? There was a huge percent that this might fail, right? As well. Even though the leadership had the experience, that there's always that possibility of failure there. And I had to set that aside and just go, you know what? This is it. This is it. This is not. There's not going to be a if I can do this. I've built up the skill sets now. The timing is here. I got to make this happen 100%.
Right, and I think one of the most valuable things to learn here is that you always kept an open mind, and that's been one of my challenges too, is being more open-minded. Because I remember I was like one of your first guests,
right,
at this company's presentation in Irvine. This was their very first event, and I went. There was only like 10 people in the room, and I had my now wife. She was with me, and I was like, I don't know, Silver.
Yeah, we've heard these cliches. Yeah. The mind's like a parachute; it only works if it's open, right?
And I don't live with many regrets in my life, but this is one of the things, Silver, I honestly do regret. I regret not starting with you at that moment, because to see the transition in a lot of our friends that we know that have joined the company throughout the years that were there in that room, people that didn't even have success in that other company that we were all with, people that were like, I don't want to say nobodies because that's such an asshole thing to say, but they were nobodies in that company. Like
being one of them,
no, not
I
at
felt
all.
like
I had bigger organizations in there, and then I was like, wow, I wonder, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? But my life has been, great, whatever. But I'm like, damn, dude, to see your income and the way that it just like 90 days, 60 days just was multiplying, and you guys are hear these numbers, it's like stupid, like how much your income grew, but. Yeah. Anyway, carry on, man. I'm proud of you. I'm not bitter.
It was just I think, you've heard the saying, with faith as the size of a mustard seed, we can move mountains,
Harlan
right?
Stone Cipher.
Right? But here's the reality of it. When you have faith, what is faith? It's absence of doubt, right? 100% absence of doubt. So it doesn't matter what measure of faith. It can be the size of a mustard seed. But when you have no doubt, you're operating in a place of inevitability, okay? Because you're going to head towards your goals no matter what. And that was my thing is, yes, I took a break from the industry, but really I wanted to be in the industry. And
you always secretly knew, like, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I'm going to blow this thing up.
Yeah.
I remember we had these talks too. Yeah. I don't know, but it's going to happen.
I don't know which one. Yeah. So, that was that faith in that. And then feeling like really 100% that opportunity was the right one.
Yeah.
And operating in that place of zero doubt. And I think that's, I was driving a car with 150,000 miles on it that was 10 years old that I bought for $3,000 in cash.
It was a nice car though.
It was, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying where I was at, living in a little 600 square foot apartment, one room and then, making like $2,000 a month. And living off that
at the job you had at the time.
Yeah, and that was a struggle. That's where I was at that point, and I was like, because of the internal state of deciding, it's like I believe that the people are going to show up that need to be in this journey with me, and it doesn't matter what my external circumstances are. These are just a product of what I've done up until now. This is not going to determine what my future is, right?
That's it.
And so I operated from that space. I didn't care what people thought of my car. I didn't need to drive up in a Lambo to go recruit someone.
That's right.
I can go out there and sell someone the vision, because people want to join people that know where they're going, period. Let's be real. Majority of people that are out there are scared and tired. They're scared,
no doubt,
and they're tired, and they're looking for someone that knows where they're going, that knows who they are, that knows where they're going, and they know how they're going to get there. And that's really what I believed 100%, and I still believe it 100% with this company. But I believed I had built up the skill sets at that point too, to lead people in the right direction and to promote the system and to be able to plug in, because I know what it had done for me up until that point, reading the books and being around the right people. And so we started from scratch, man. I remember our CEO was in a room that you were in with like 30 people doing the presentation. And it's like, this is how it starts. I really believe that we're going to have a room full of 10,000 people at one point, and that was what I believed. And I was operating out of that standpoint, like this is already done in my mind, and it started to happen. That's the crazy part, Omero. I mean, I started to get some success with one product in just the United States, getting it out there with people. And the company had a really cool system. It's like, hand out these bottles of anti-aging product, let people try it for a week, get it back from them. The results, people buy results, right? So they're going to be able to see their results in a week. take the before and after pictures, and it's like either you see it or you don't. Do you think you can do the same thing,
Right.
turn around and hand out some bottles? So it was a very duplicatable system, which in this business, in this industry, is very, very important. You know, the company that we were with previously, it's like you had to explain everything,
It was
the
a
different
service.
areas of coverage and all this stuff, and it was something that people needed, not wanted.
Right.
Anti-aging, I think everybody looks in the mirror and they see one thing they want to, they see improvement on, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, it just started happening. And I was like, wow, this anti-aging thing's really hitting. The leadership in this company is really hitting. You know, my level of faith is really hitting. And so within a short period of time, was able to replace my income, was able to, you know, earn some cool incentives, an iPad, a Lexus car bonus. And, you know, it was still kind of like that. Do I really believe this is happening?
Right.
I'm going to keep my investment mindset of, you know, stocking my money away, not going to jump into the Lexus right away, whatever it was. I'm not going to raise my level of lifestyle.
Right.
Want to keep my bills at a minimum until I know this thing's for real.
Right.
And it wasn't a fear. It was just like, hey, that's the place I was operating from based on past experience.
Right. It's a life lesson. You now.
Right. And that's a lesson for everyone listening.
Yes.
You know, live below your means.
For sure. No doubt.
Learn that one the hard way with car
Yeah.
repos, furniture repossessions, selling stuff on Craigslist, you know,
Right.
living at every dollar I was earning. And started to build up an incredible base with incredible momentum. You know, within 6 months, I was generating a really healthy income, but the organization started to double and started to see, you know, some incredible stuff happen. And by the end of the first year, you know, we had 12 people on the team, including myself, making a 6-figure income.
Right.
I
So
mean,
let's just to give people an idea, man. I mean, in your first 90 days, you know, what were you earning per month part-time because you still had your job?
You know, it's still, here's the thing. It's still a business, so
Right.
it takes time to build.
Yeah.
But with operating at the level that I was at and the amount of work that I was putting in because of the faith level I was operating at, you know, I think my first month I made an extra $500, and then that, you know, went to 1,000 the next month, and it started to double. That's
Right.
the thing; it started to compound, and you could take that pretty. You can get an idea of what can happen to your income pretty quickly if you double from 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 4, 5, 10.
Right.
Yeah. So by my 6th month, I had earned a $25,000 bonus with the company and was making about 10 grand a month, which
At
was
6 months.
6 months.
Not bad, man. I've never heard or seen another business model where you can just plug in. I mean, obviously you have experience, but it's like the momentum of this being a new company, the timing, the momentum, and it's still a very young company. So it's like the best is yet to come.
Yeah, and you know, who's to say? You know, everybody comes in with different experiences and different levels of belief, but I've seen people that smoked past me that had no experience in this industry because of the value of the company and the systems that were set up. So really pioneering that track for the first 2 years and getting to a really cool position in the company called 3-star national marketing director, and the company kept pumping money back into the compensation plan as they started to grow. So as the company grew, the checks grew, you know, everything, the company is really all about making people better, you know, financially, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in so many different ways, and giving us the context and the structure to do that. And so, you know, hit that position 3-star and making some really good money, man, like dream money that
Right.
that I didn't even know. I mean, I felt it was possible,
Yeah.
but it was like, you know, that's when a lot of soul searching actually came up. And that was,
Right.
you know, they say every level there's another devil, right?
Yep.
And that's when another devil came up for
Yeah,
me,
man. I remember I always asked you, hey, because even though I didn't join, I always said, keep me posted, right?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, dude, I made 20 grand this month. And
Yeah.
I'm like at my office, like, fuck, that's crazy money. And then you're like, the next month, it almost seemed like a month or two later, like, oh, dude, I broke 30. Oh, I broke 40. I'm like, dude, you broke 40 grand. Like, you
Yeah.
earned 40 grand that month?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Crazy. You're like, yeah. And then, like, also following you through social media, man, you were traveling everywhere.
Yeah.
Looks like people were flying you out to be a guest speaker,
Yeah.
do presentations, do trainings.
Yeah.
And also you speaking on stage, like getting these big bonus checks. I mean, what were some of the bigger bonus checks that you've gotten from the company?
So I got a $25,000 bonus that the company subsequently doubled for all those people that got started earlier in the company to 50, and then I had earned 100,000, but then walking out on stage, they're like, we're going to double a lot of these bonuses or add more money onto them. And then they increase that to 150,000. So
bonus check.
Yeah. Bonus.
Not like this is what you earned for the year. This is an addition to what you earned that the whole year. Here's another bonus for you.
Yeah. And
that's crazy. And that's one thing about network marketing that like still inside, fires me up, is because you'll never get that at corporate America.
No.
I worked for one of the most elite music corporations in the world. I don't want to say their name. I think I've said it before, but the biggest bonus check I ever got, and I had one of the top producing sales teams in that group, where we had 5 regions. Mine was like number 2. We were killing it every month, but we were making millions a month for the company. My bonus check would be like $3,000, $5,000 for the year, which I was thankful for. That helped me pay off some of my debt, but damn, that's the power of network. And not just one person getting a bonus check. You guys would have dozens of people on stage getting these bonus checks.
Creating lifestyle, man.
That is crazy. and the cool thing we were always taught is that most people don't hit it big with their first company. It takes 3, 4, 5. They say like 7, like on their 7th company. And like if you do the math, like you went through all those companies and your magic ticket was after 6 or 7 with this company. Yeah.
Well, the first year, just in the United States with one product, company did $100 million. Fastest company to ever do that. Yeah. Fastest company to ever do that. Make it onto the direct selling news top 100 list out of 7,000 companies. We made it to like number 86 on that list, which is like unheard of, right? It's never happened before. First company, first year. Second year, jumped up to number 54 on the DSN top 100 global 100 list. So, and then it continues to go up.
Right.
We just keep going up. We went to do 200 million, over 200 million our second year, 400 million our third year. So we're breaking records. It's literally
just doubling and doubling and doubling year after year.
A lot of crazy stuff. And now we're expanding globally. A lot of success happening in other countries as well, because we're taking our time to set up the infrastructure. There's a lot of companies in this industry that go out there and basically open 150 countries right away, and they go, it's an advantage. And really, how can you set up an infrastructure like that? You would need billions of dollars for each one, for all those countries to come together and have a solid infrastructure, a hub where people can go and sign up in a lot of these other countries, because there's not a lot of safety out there in a metropolitan area. And then you get these, rogue leaders in other companies that, you try and recruit someone in that country, and they're like, well, we're the leader here in this country, just join our team because your person's way in the United States, or our company is really about integrity. And, that's a huge thing, I think, in business on any level to make a company survive.
Right.
That's why you don't see, people are driven by money in a lot of these other companies, and they're not driven by really the mission of the company.
Right. And I don't want people that are listening to this to get the wrong idea that we're just sharing these income numbers to be braggadocious about it in any way, Silver. To people listening, I just think it's important to share these numbers, because it's amazing to see what's available, what's possible, and you're a real guy. You don't have a master's degree in business. You don't have a bachelor's degree in business. Do you have any college degree?
I came from the streets.
That's it, right?
Streets of Corona, man.
So, that's my whole point, is the reason within Ganas Network is that there's these amazing things that are possible. You just have to have a burning desire, plug into a system that's duplicatable, because it's not even that you're so great, because you are great, but you're able to bring in people that are able to bring in people in different states that speak different languages, that plug into a system that allows them and positions them to have massive success. And that's really why your income has been able to grow, because there's a system in place. It's not just about you train. How many people do you have, would you say, now in your organization?
A lot,
right? Because I know you get like thousands on a weekly basis.
We're rolling up to 100,000 people, man.
So you have 100,000 people. There's no freaking way, guys, that you could have personally coached and mentored these 100,000 people. Because that's like buku numbers. I can't handle talking to my 10 friends,
Me neither.
And that's the beautiful thing about network marketing and, direct sales, of that. If you're with the right company, with the right system, you could have, and so you have, let's say 100,000 people in your organization. How many of those would you say are earning over $100,000 a year from home with the company?
I think on our team we got about 100 now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is dope. I hope to one day, I don't know if I'll ever have success in network marketing like you, but I just hope to one day, me and Pablo are about to launch a company this summer. We'll share more information about that. But I would love to set up a company where I could help maybe 5 people make $100,000, like in a traditional corporate setting doing what we do. That's my dream, is to have our whole team win, right?
Yeah.
But for you to be able to say, not that you created this company, but because you got started, brought in some people, now over 100,000 people, and you have over 100 people making 6 figures from home, spending more time with their families instead of being stuck at an office all day, 40, 50 hours a week. I think that's just a beautiful success story, man. And I know the best is yet to come, because it's still early in your career, man.
Yeah, it's insane, man. We're a 4-year-old company, and
that's crazy.
Here's the bottom line philosophy, man. Is successful people are willing to do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. I mean, I've been grinding it out now for 11 years, and I just started making 6 figures 4 years ago. So you got to look at the time that was put in,
right?
Now to earn over $1 million or $1.5 million with the company, between me and my partner, there's a lot of different, there's a lot of different things I had to go through, but that's the thing, growing and expanding, willing to be pushing your edge, living at the edge of your comfort zone, when you fall hard, willing to get up hard, right? And being able to go out there and create some internal fortitude to be able to get up more times than you fall. And, I've learned a lot of lessons in that, man. Like I said, I realized there's a lot of things that I can control, but there's a lot of things that I can't control as well. And the things that I can control are my actions and the way I think about things. So I have to, in any process that I want to change for myself, I have to look at either how I'm thinking about it or what I'm doing about it. What are the actions that I'm taking? And if this is one nugget you can get from this whole thing, if you want to change anything in your life, you have to change one of those 2 things. And I'll give you this once again. What I'm doing about it, so the actions I'm taking in regards to that, or how I'm thinking about it, right? So it's like I needed to get into systems or read books that were going to teach me how to think differently, or get around people and read books that were going to teach me what to do differently. And then between me and my goals, it's just a matter of time. It's the illusion of time, right? Like, hey, I don't see the results yet, but my outside manifestation is a manifestation of my internal world, right? Of what's going on inside me, and the actions that I'm taking will produce those results. And that's ultimately what happens over time. I like the example of the tree and the roots, right? On the surface, it looks like nothing's going on, but the whole foundation, the only reason the tree can actually produce fruit is because it has a set of roots that are gaining its nutrients, that have created its stability, and over time, it's like, oh, hey, now there's a sprout. Hey, now there's a tree. Hey, now there's fruit. But without all those roots systems, that tree wouldn't have existed. And so, if you're working towards your goals, you have your vision set up, just stay on that path. Make sure you're learning at every curve that you can get, surrounding yourself with the right people, reading the right books, and auto-correcting your actions consistently and how you're thinking about things. And so you can have the lifestyle of your dreams. I mean, that's all I believe I've done over time. And it's a pretty cool lifestyle, man. But, it's a rare thing to see someone who's willing to go through that and to make their own decisions, because people let media, which this is great media, so this is something you want to continue to stay on. This is a source of information for you to learn from successful people, but there's tons of information out there, and the functionality of your mind, your right brain, it only works when you consciously put in those efforts to stay in that right brain, the creative aspect. That's the only thing that separates us from the animals, man, is our creative brain. Everything else is similar to the animals, right? So creative brain, and we have to stay in that frame of mind with affirmations, with right brain thinking, staying in that creative process about what we want, how we're going to expand, how we're going to share. And then on the other side, our natural human instinct will take us in the other direction. So, Yeah, man.
Now, you've mentioned a lot of self-help books. Who have been some of your most influential authors or motivational speakers that you can say that throughout all these years you've gone back to, back time after time and just re-listen to or reread? Who would you say are your top three influencers?
My top three, I would say, the CEO of my company definitely has produced a book that has given me that mindset of incremental growth and doing the small things that seem to make no difference in the act of doing them that create all the difference over time. His book's called The Slight Edge, and that's Jeff Olson. He's someone that I've listened to throughout my whole career. I really like Tony Robbins a lot. I think he's got a lot of great information on, emotional fitness. I think our emotions, when we're in that conscious state of staying in our creativity and then connecting our emotions to that creativity and our goals and actions, that's going to continue to move us. So emotional fitness and what, Tony Robbins, his seminars, a lot of his books and stuff are just absolutely amazing. I've been to a lot of them and read a lot of his content.
And you reinvest in yourself by attending these events, because I know with the Anthony Robbins events, they're not cheap, and sometimes people will think, man, $300 or $500 to go and get inspired. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? But then again, it's what are you spending your time, energy, and money on? And it's, being around the right people, learning the right things, getting the right information into your brain versus just, blowing it on like
a night you don't remember.
Exactly. Plenty of those, right?
Yeah. I just look at it like this, man. If I can invest $3,000 or $300 or $500 in a weekend and the time there to save me 6 months, to save me a year in the future, because I learned one thing that's going to help me on get around those types of people and to learn from their experiences, and things that people have dedicated their entire life to. Same thing with books. If I can dedicate, $10, $20 to a book that someone spent their lifetime writing and their experiences, why the heck wouldn't I read it, right? I want that book. I want that experience to be able to invest in those, because that's going to save me time, money, and effort in the future, right? So, and then I would say third, Napoleon Hill. I love all Napoleon Hill's stuff. Think and Grow Rich, the 25 Laws of Success, Outwitting the Devil is an amazing book. If you haven't read that, pick it up. It's pretty intense. And, the thing is I wasn't ready for those books by Napoleon Hill early on in my career, because it was like reading the Bible or something to me. Right. It was like, because it was written in the early 1900s, a lot of this stuff. But that's where I'm finding a lot of enrichment. The truth never changes, right? And that a lot of that truth has been around for, decades and centuries and generations. And it's like, it's cool to hear it in a different context, but it's the same principles, and Napoleon Hill is definitely a classic.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. And I know we're kind of running, tight on time here, man, but where can people connect with you? Because I know there's going to be a lot of people that are probably curious, who is this guy, Silver Fisher? How can people connect with you via social media, or, how can people start following you?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, my Facebook's kind of maxed out, and I don't even know. I think I'm working on a project right now to put together a fan page. But if you were inspired at any level by this podcast, you can always inbox me on Facebook at Silver Fisher, SilverFisher, and then I can add you, or you can follow me on Instagram, Silver Fisher, as well. But I am going to be unfolding fan pages and stuff because I maxed out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy, the influence. Well, imagine there's 100,000 people in your organization. I'm sure some of them want to be your friend on Facebook and see what.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could follow people, anymore. And that's just, I've been so busy in the real world, realizing, hey, social media is such a big tool, especially in international expansion.
Right.
People are watching, right? They're watching the leadership. So, but Silver Fisher, and you also have a YouTube page, but you can just Google that.
I know you have some cool. You have some great training videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
What's your YouTube channel called?
Just go to silverfisher.com.
Okay. Perfect. We got to launch that massive like website, dude.
Yeah.
Silverfisher.com.
Someone working on it right now is
That's
just
awesome.
hiring out some good people to, do good things and expanding my online presence as well, revamping a lot of stuff and getting a little bit more professional because I realize, hey, obviously social media and the internet's the wave of the future, guys.
Right? Cool, man. Well, I mean, thank you for your time and sharing your story. Hopefully we could have a follow-up in a few months and just kind of see where you're at. That way we could help you promote, your website, or I just see you, man, like as eventually a traveling like public speaker, not just associated with your company, but just a public speaker talking to different types of organizations, different groups, high school students, college students, business students, maybe writing a book someday. I don't know, man. You have so much, you're this big well of information, and I know you're always giving back too, and you like to help others. So it's going to be exciting to see what's up, and the best is yet to come for you. And anything else you want to promote? Anything that's coming up for yourself or your business?
Not really, man. I mean, I agree with you. My mindset right now is just growing and expanding, like I said, and online presence is going to be one of those big things that I'm going to be paying attention to. But absolutely, finding the right people to associate with that are inspired to share and help each other in all aspects, just kind of like what we do. But yeah, man, I see that as well in my future, talking to I'm already talking to large groups of people, but outside on a different level, maybe writing a book here and doing some cool stuff, starting a foundation, maybe going out there and inspiring kids to continue on their path of music, whatever it might be, helping them achieve their dreams. I think there's a lot of cool opportunities in getting to the next level and finding out how I can turn around and do what you're doing, man, and give it back and having that what we call reciprocal altruism, right?
Right. That's a big word there, guys. Google it.
Yeah, you googly, right?
Check
So, but no, I really appreciate you, giving me this opportunity to share with you today, and I'm looking forward to hearing about your expansion in Ganas and the different things you guys got going on, man. You got so many good people associated with this, and this isn't a plug for him. He didn't ask me to do this, but stay connected to this, man, because this guy knows some sharp people that have a lot of good information, and this is definitely something you want to stay tuned into if you're looking to go to the next level in life.
Right. And thank you for that. And our plan is to later in the summer have a live event where we have guest speakers, and man, you would be one of them to just hit a home run, and because we want to have guest speakers on everything, motivational, but business talk, music industry talk, education talk. We want to have a big event, and we'll hit you up for that. So stay posted, everybody.
Yeah, and I know this is kind of on the fly, I'm kind of a planner, and I like to talk about certain things. So this is an on the fly podcast,
Yes.
just getting real and kind of grimy today with the story and everything like that.
Yeah.
And just that's what I see this Ganas network being, is just authenticity, man. Just really, giving real stories about real people, and that's why I want to be a part of it. So appreciate everything you've done today. Thanks, man.
For sure, brother. And as you guys heard Silver earlier mentioning that, there's all these books that he's read that have changed his life. We want to let you guys know that in the month of February, we're starting a new book. Last month, we read Hal Elrod's book, Miracle Morning. The book for February is by Gary Vaynerchuk. So guys, get this book on Amazon or wherever you buy your books, if there's still bookstores out there in your neighborhood. Gary Vaynerchuk, that's Vaynerchuk, and the book is called Crush It. It's a really, really cool book. Pablo and I are reading this book. We read it before, but we're going to reread it. It's why now is the time to cash in on your passion. It's cool to focus on things you're excited about, but why not invest time in something that you're passionate about? Because I think that's how we could find a way to create a really fun lifestyle. And if you're looking to make some extra income, this book is going to really open up your mindset. So order your book so you can be reading it with us in February as well. I want to make sure to send a shout out to our sponsors, Metro Fund Financial. They're a credit repair specialist helping people rebuild, restore their credit nationwide. That's metrofundfinancial.com, and also J&R Landscape for all your residential and commercial landscaping needs, guys. All we ask here is if you like this podcast, number one, share it with people because, it's all about paying it forward. And number 2, if you can go to iTunes and leave a review, just type in Ganas Network, our page pops up, and just leave a 5-star review. Let us know what you thought. That way more people could hear about the podcast. So make it a great week, guys. Lunes con Ganas, crush it. Silver Fisher, thanks, man. You hit a home run. And by the way, the music on this intro and the music on this outro is actually music produced by you. He mentioned that he used to DJ, but he actually still makes some really dope music, guys. If you like electronic music, this is gonna blow your mind a little bit. So enjoy the tunes, make it a great week, and kill it.